So now we are in Slovakia with Veltlina from, I'm not 100% sure how to say it, Slobodné. I hope that's right, Slobodné. And they're a pretty famous producer out there, probably the first or second most famous one I know out of Slovakia. And I've had a lot of their wines before, but this one was new to me. They do a lot with the rooster, so you'll see the rooster on their labels a lot in different formats. And this one's super tasty. It's Veltlina, if you can believe it, since it's called Veltlina as a name. And it's an orange wine with 7 days of skin contact. So it does have an orangey hue. It's not super extracted. Veltlina is not super thick skin, so I'm not surprised that it's not getting a ton of extraction out of it. But 7 days is a good amount of time. So yeah, their deal is they are a family farm up in, I think it's the east side of Slovakia. Hang on, let me just double check. They do a lot of like indigenous yeasts, or sorry, not indigenous grapes, but then they also use, more traditional ones as well, like Pinot Gris, Cab Sauv, etc. They have about 17 hectares, which is a decent size, which is probably also why we see a good amount of their wines and why they have quite a few, because you can make a lot of wine with that much land, but they are also practicing biodynamics. So actually really similar to what I was talking about with Mindclang. So they're probably like I think Mindclang has a lot more land, but potentially a bit in the same family, in the same thought process as how Mindclang's operating. So really tasty, colder weather wine. And let's dive into it. So, like I said, Veltlina, 7 day skin contact. On the top, super minerally, which is not what I would have expected to initially get. It's like wet rocks and kind of saline, like a wet, whatever the rock is that tastes like salt. I can't remember from when I was in school, but yeah, like not fruity at all, at least on the top, which is surprising because it's 2019, so it's not like it has a ton of age on it. So let's go down here. All right, so I'm getting it more down here, but it's more reserved. Like it's, instead of being apples and citrus, which they're there, but like I'm actually getting first like pears. Also maybe like some stone fruit. More lemony, I would say, than lime, but also like maybe a little bit like clementine, like very light orange. There's a lot going on here. This thing smells amazing. It's also, again, I'm still getting this like kind of saline, wet rock. It's a little bit earthy down here too, like kind of wet forest floor with rocks in it, maybe. Really delightful nose. So I'm excited to try this. Zesty. So I have to preface that I accidentally burned the crap out of my tongue right before this. So I'm struggling a little bit with mouthfeel because my tongue kind of feels like sandpaper right now, which stinks. But I'll initially just talk about the finish is long and actually super citrusy, which is funny because I was just saying I was really having to extract that out of it because I was starting with just getting like the earth notes from it. So let me revisit. Tasty. So higher acid, very high acid, like my mouth is watering. Not a ton of tannin. Again, I can't say for sure on this one because of my tongue, but I think it has more phenolic bitterness than it does tannin. I'm getting that like kind of tingly stuff down the middle of my tongue. Yeah, it's just tasty. It tastes like all the stuff I just mentioned, but it kind of, again, actually, it's just kind of more fruit focused on the palate, more so than it was on the nose, which is quite the surprise for me. Really like refined, I would say. This is not like their fanciest of wines. It's not a cheap wine, but it's not their fanciest of wines. And I would say this is like very well made. Well, if you let the wines do the work, then did you even make it? Yes. But really well thought through in how they wanted to make this wine. So let me try it once more and then we'll talk about pairings. Okay, now I am getting the mineral notes. Basically, like while it's still, initially it's like fruit, and then it's kind of like going towards the back of my mouth. And when I'm bringing some air into my mouth, it's like, woo, like you're at the sea and you're on the rocks. And then it goes back and it's like, oh, here's your like clementine finish again. So delicious, great, love it. Gonna be really good with seafood. Hence why, obviously that's the first thing I thought of based on where I felt like I was when I was talking about it. So I think it could be great with, like basically salty seafood. Like I'm thinking like pulpo, and you get like tapas, yum. Any sort of like fried fish would be delicious. You could also do it with, white meats like chickens and whatever. Vegetarian food could be great. Just as long as it has enough acid in it, because it is pretty acidic. So just make sure you have something to balance that as well. But yeah, I want this with like briny. I don't know. Actually, as far as orange wines go, I would say this is an orange wine for oysters. I would say it's definitely in that category, which I would not normally say. So maybe I'll also try this with oysters. But yeah, like I think my idea of pulpo or gambas al ajillo tapas style would really do well. But then I also, if it was summer, I would just want to drink this outside with some fish on the barbecue. That would be really tasty. Even like maybe like a whole fish, branzino or whatever, some rice, yummy. So enjoy.